Hi, my name is Catherine Linder, and this is my audience. Did you know that global natural gas consumption is up to 2.2%, and it's 2,987 million tons of oil in 2012? This is more than triple the consumption that was measured in 1970. Unfortunately, our numbers are only going to increase as the world's population increases, and our demand and our reliance on fossil fuels is going to keep increasing. This also increases our carbon footprint as well as the pollution in our environment. The good news is we have a solution to this energy crisis, and that we have alternate forms of energy. So today we'll talk about 3 different forms of alternative energies, and we'll talk about why we need to reduce the carbon footprint with these alternative forms of energies. So, the first form that we'll talk about, this alternative form of energy that would reduce our carbon footprint, is hydropower. Hydropower is electricity made from falling or streaming water, and the good news is that it's a renewable resource, which is unlike fossil fuels. We're never really going to run out of water. It also releases very little pollutants, which is different than fossil fuels, which releases a lot of heat-trapping pollutants into our environment. And hydropower plants have lifespans of 2 to 10 times more than fossil fuel plants, which makes it more cost-effective for our globe. So in conclusion, hydropower is high energy and has a low operating cost for us. Here's an example, and it kind of shows a diagram of how a hydropower plant would work. You can see the falling water as well as the reservoir and how it's transferring into usable energy. And then here's a real-life example. You can see the falling water and the reservoir. So our second form of alternative energy is wind power, and it is a renewable, abundant source of power, which is very similar to hydroelectricity. We're never really going to run out, and it's abundant in different locations, so that's where they set up the wind farms as well as the windmills. Good news about wind is that it's free, and the only production cost that we have is the production of it, so the production of the wind farms or the windmills. And unlike fossil fuels, it has a very limited environmental effect. The only effect it really has on our environment is the visual effect. It takes up a lot of space. You can see a picture of a wind farm here, and you can see all the different windmills that are transferring wind energy into usable energy for our globe. Our last and final alternative form of energy that we'll talk about is solar energy. Solar energy is also renewable, like the first 2 that we talked about. We're never really going to run out of sun. It's fairly abundant and more abundant in different regions, just like wind. However, it is expensive, but it's less expensive than fossil fuel plants. So it doesn't decrease its importance at all just because it's a little bit more expensive. And actually the Encyclopedia Britannica says that if suitably harnessed, solar power has the potential to satisfy all our future energy needs. So it has very little pollution, which is unlike fossil fuels. It releases no CO2 into our environment. And here's a picture. You can tell why it's a little bit more expensive than wind or hydroelectric. You can see the sun and it coming down on the solar panels and how it has to transfer the energy into the electric utility grid for the home. But all this comes down to really is just a need for change in our globe. With the growing reliance on fossil fuels, our world is headed towards a dangerously large carbon footprint. Hydroelectricity, wind energy, and solar power are all cleaner, more abundant forms of energy that could lead us to a smaller carbon footprint as well as decreasing our pollution in our environment. And if we change our form of energy and our usage of energy on this earth, then we'll be headed towards a cleaner and more satisfied planet. Thank you.